I'm Starborn. To be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not be afraid of the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. That's a good thing to remember right now, because today's show is all about a new moon at 10 degrees of Scorpio. And so today, since Scorpio rules justice and survival, the title of today's show is Finished. But it's not for an obvious reason, so I'll explain that in just a moment. But I want to say two things first. One of them is, I hope you have a happy Halloween. And then the day after that, November 1st, is the day of the new moon at 10 degrees of Scorpio. And it is also our 1600th show. And that means 30 years ago, in November of 1994, I started Starborn. And I guess time flies when you're having fun, because I'm still doing it. And I've enjoyed every minute of it, and particularly the wonderful help that I used to have from wonderful crew members when we used to shoot in the studio. But when the pandemic came along and the studio closed and there was no more crew, then I just have to do it this way. But I wanted to tell you that 1600 over 30 years is, where did the time go? But anyway, the title of today's show is Finished, but it's not because of the new moon. The new moon is fabulous on November 1st, on Friday, because there are 6 planets in the healing water signs, and there were last week as well. But of course, it's even better when the lights are together. And so the sun and the new moon are at 10 degrees of Scorpio, and Mercury is in Scorpios as well. And so these 3 planets are all trining Saturn and Neptune in Pisces, and those 2 planets are retrograde. And then they are also, those 5 planets are also trining Mars in Cancer. And Mars is at 29 degrees of Cancer, the degree of fate. And so that's part of the reason why somebody or something is really finished now. It's not just a little finished, it's permanently finished. And that is because although these 6 planets are wonderfully trining each other in the healing water signs, which rule our feelings, so we should all be able to understand our own feelings a lot better, it's that Scorpio's rulers are in a very, very harsh aspect. And I think mathematically, in our recorded lifetime, I don't think we've ever seen this. And the reason why I don't think that is possible is not because they wouldn't have lined up maybe even centuries ago in these positions, but not since we knew about Pluto. Pluto was only discovered in 1930. And so from 1930 to now, I don't believe this has ever happened. And it is that both of Scorpio's rulers are at the 29th degree of fate in exact harsh opposition. And the 29th degree of any sign is called the degree of fate because something is either on or over. And that is why the title of the show is Finished, because they're both at the 29th degree, and they're both opposing each other, and an opposition indicates a separation. But I think this one's going to be permanent, and it's going to have something to do with financial affairs, or it's going to be motivated by financial dealings in one way or another. Now, Scorpio rules a lot of things. It rules justice and survival. That's the big one. And it also rules the traditional 8th house of death and regeneration. In other words, when something's going wrong, most people, if they understand themselves better, can sort of regenerate and go on with their lives. So Scorpio is a water sign, and so it rules healing. And it's a fixed financial sign, ruling credit, debt, taxes, loans, insurance, inheritance, grants, or money coming in from any other source. But because it rules justice and survival, it rules pretty heavy-duty things like war, because Mars rules war, and that's one of its rulers. And Pluto specifically rules anything that has to do with nuclear, but particularly since Scorpio is a water sign, Pluto rules nuclear warfare. particularly submarine warfare, if you wanted to get real specific. And so that can be highlighted right now, but perhaps not in a real favorable way. Overall, the 6 planets, which are the majority of the planets in the heavens, are all trining each other. But these rulers mean business, and they're not in a good position. And I don't think they've been in such a harsh position since Pluto was discovered in 1930. Because Mars is a fast mover and Pluto is a real slow one. They wouldn't have lined up like this, I don't believe. So anyway, that's why I think something is finished. And I want to explain why it's finished. And so since Scorpio rules psychology, and it rules medicine, and it particularly surgery, since Mars rules sharp instruments, and it rules the military, because Scorpio also rules war. And all that has to do, in the end, with healing, and with justice, and with survival. And so it's good that something is finished, but it's not going to be pleasant for somebody. And so let me explain why something's finished. Something is finished right now. Particularly it has to do with some sort of financial matter. It's tied to finances in one way or another. So somebody who's finished right now is finished in a matter or matters concerning their home life. Mars is in Cancer, which rules the home, and it rules endings, and it rules the family. So the home, family, or it can be that it can deal with somebody's public reputation or their career, because that's what Capricorn rules, which is where Pluto is, and both of these planets are at 29 degrees going head to head. And so someone's career and their public reputation and their home life and their family life are finished. Now, it doesn't mean that it's just a blank slate right now. Remember, Scorpio rules survival and justice. What it means is that some people are finished because they can't change. And why can't they? Because they don't want to. And why is that? Because some people enjoy pointing the finger of blame at others. And so they do that constantly, pointing the finger of blame or accusing other people of doing things wrong. And they're always continually on the attack. And the reason why is because it's the only way that they can cover up the fact that they don't have good intelligence, even if they do have a college degree, or they don't have a hardworking personality and the motivation to succeed on their own. So they cover up their own glaring deficiencies by always pointing the finger of blame at somebody else. They think that this puts them in an elevated position which can cover up their own deficiencies. So what do people do who have big overblown egos? These are the kind of people that are finished right now. They're the ones that are pointing the finger of blame. Well, people with overblown egos all have one thing in common. They have a bizarre, almost fanatic way of trying to control others. It isn't just pointing the finger of blame. That's how they get started, and that's their number one first step in any relationship, is a pointing the finger of blame, trying to exert authority that they haven't proven at all. They just say they've got it. And so what they try to do is they try to control others in one way or another, and most often it's through accusations. Oh, you're not right. Oh, you're not perfect. Oh, this and that. You know, they work at that. And so that is to cover up the fact that they don't have the talent. Generally, they don't have even half the talent of the person they're accusing. And so that's why they're accusing them, to cover up their own lack of talent. So they develop an overblown ego that lives to control others. Control is their middle name, and they've got it. Now, why are these people finished now? Because they don't have a sense of humility. And in the Bible it says, the meek shall inherit the earth. And I always wondered what that meant when I was a little kid learning about all this. The meek shall inherit the earth. If they're meek, how in the world would they inherit the earth? It is because there's something connected with love that allows a person who has love to have the kind of humility where they can say they're sorry and where they can admit their mistakes. And they can just say, I'm sorry, I made a mistake, I won't do that anymore. And because they're saying that not only out of love for others, but for a healthy love for themselves, wanting to improve themselves. That shows humility. And humility and love are real close together. And so these people that are finished right now, they don't have humility. They live for control. They're covering up their own deficiencies by always accusing somebody else, pointing the finger of blame at somebody else. Attack is the only thing they know. Because in their eyes, when they're attacking, they're elevating themselves above everybody else, whether they're right or not. That's how they see themselves, inflated egos. And so since these people don't have any humility, and I think they also don't have much talent, they're finished. They're finished. And that's because Mars and Pluto rules Scorpio. The new moon in Scorpio is beautifully aspected. It has a lot of support. 6 planets are all trining it, and that includes the lights. But if you don't have a sense of justice and a sense of humility and the ability to love others, where's it going to get you? Where are you going to end up? I think all alone. Because the people who had great careers or a big family life or some great public reputation, they will never be able to achieve their former status again. They're finished. And so the next time you meet somebody, and instead of attacking them or trying to control them, maybe if you could try to understand them, understand where they're coming from, and listen to them if they say they're sorry, or if they know they've made a mistake. That's humility. It takes somebody pretty brave to say those things. When you're wrong, and you say, I'm sorry, I was wrong, and you admit it, it seems to me you've just grown taller. So you should give that a try. Because otherwise, if you're always right and always attacking and always controlling, I guarantee you're finished now, and it's not coming back. Whatever you had before is not coming back. I've never really seen these 2 planets both at the 29th degree. In the sign of the home, the family, and the last half of life, that's Mars in Cancer, and in the sign of your career and your public reputation and your long-term security. And they're going head to head. So anyway, I'm sorry I went on about that. I wish I had a happier theme for this week's show, but I always go by the math and try to understand it. And so that's where we are. Just remember though, bottom line, it's a great new moon. But if you could develop a little more humility and tolerance and patience, Scorpio rules patience, you might find that your future would be a lot happier. And in the end, I think those are the riches in life. The things that you can't control and the things that money doesn't buy. Those are the riches in your heart. And that's something that stays with you for as long as you live. That's worth preserving. All right, what does this mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Aries. For you, Aries, it's your ruler, Mars, that is in Cancer. It is squaring your Sun heartily at the 29th degree of fate in Cancer. And Pluto in Capricorn is also squaring your Sun at the 29th degree. It's doing that to the sign of Libra as well. But Mars is your own ruler, Aries. And so I would say that somewhere in your life, Aries, something's really over. And it's a little bit like something has been shattered so much that you couldn't put all the pieces back together if you tried. It's not possible. It's finished. And that would be, that would be for the best, Aries. It really would be. It may, in a way, change your family life or where you live, your home life, or the career choices that you're making, or the plans you've had for your retirement in the future. All those things are subject to change because something is really finished right now, and it does have something to do with financial matters. So you will be affected financially in one way or another, and possibly in your career, Aries. On the other hand, there was a wonderful solar eclipse in your sign this spring, and it might be, hopefully, that you've had a little plan in the back of your mind to start something new on your own. And even if it's just been in the planning stages for a long time, it may have sort of developed into something where it's ready to take the next step, or it's ready to expand in some way. Because since it is a grand trine in the water signs, it means that every single water sign has some planets in it. Well, okay, Mars in Cancer is squaring your sun sign, but Neptune and Saturn in Pisces are right behind your sun sign, and they're being beautifully aspected. And that means that there's somewhere in the background of your life, Aries, there can be some way, even some dream that you've had for a very, very long time, since that's Saturn that is in Pisces. There may be a way for you to sort of step back from whatever you've been doing for a while and maybe concentrate on that instead, and just do it quietly on your own. And you might actually succeed if you do that just a little bit more on your own and somewhat behind the scenes. In other words, you don't need to advertise what you're doing, just do it. And if you're doing it behind the scenes, then if you run into a problem or you run into a roadblock of some kind, you don't have to apologize for that. You can just concentrate on that a little bit harder and work through it in one way or another. And so there is the possibility that you could do that, but that would only be as the result of something that is over and finished in your life. It doesn't mean your life is finished, Aries. It means it's something to do with home, family, where you live, your career, your public reputation, or your retirement. Those things are what you might call out of whack right now, and I don't think you can solve all the problems you've got right now, Aries. If I were you, I would try to step back and be a lot more quiet right now, if you can, and think things over. And eventually, just get some rest and you'll be able to, I'm not so certain you're going to bounce back, but I think that you would be able to come up with a good plan. And it might have been something that you've been thinking about since last spring when there was a solar eclipse in your sign, so don't give up on that. Okay, what does it mean to a Taurus? Well, Taurus, this is a time, Taurus, when I think that you are going to have to redo the money. And I'm not so sure that you're going to be in control of that, Taurus. I think it's going to sort of be done for you, and you may not have too much say in that. And the reason why is that the Sun, the New Moon, and Mercury, which are in Scorpio, are all opposing your sun sign, where you have Uranus, which is a volatile, malefic planet because it rules sudden, surprising change and unexpected surprises of one kind or another. And you may be facing one right now. And your sign rules the New York Stock Exchange, and it rules investments. It rules commercial real estate as well. And so there's areas in your life that there can be, for instance, increased taxes on some property that you own. That would be because Scorpio rules taxes. And Scorpio's rulers are really coming up against each other right now. So there is going to be something finished in all of our lives due to financial conditions. Or something that has to do with finances in one way or another. Be different for different people. But for you, it could cover your investments or property that you own, Taurus, because that's what your sign rules. And so I would say, if you had a choice of keeping something where the taxes were just going, you're paying more and more taxes all the time, this may be an auspicious time to sell it, Taurus. Because you may not be getting any richer if the taxes go up faster than the value of the property. It's just costing you more to own it. And so you might be a little bit better to sell it if you want to, or to redo your investments in a way that they can be less speculative and more conservative to provide for your retirement or your old age, which I hope that you think about a lot more seriously, because the only planet that is trining your sun, remember the sun, moon, and Mercury are opposing your sun sign, but Pluto is in Capricorn, and it is trining your sun right now, but it's Pluto that's getting hit by that opposition from Mars. And so there's something that has to do with your long-term investment or your retirement funds or your career, just plain your career, that would be somewhat under attack right now, and you would have to do some necessary realignment of your finances or of your assets. And I would do something, Taurus, rather than just let things ride, because I don't think that's in your favor. Pluto will be out of Capricorn and into Aquarius and squaring your sun for years to come, and that's coming up in just 2 weeks. And so I would try to get some good financial advice if you can, and make some long-term financial decisions right now. And also you should consider your health. You may want to scale back on some activities right now, and that would be just fine. If that would make you feel better and live longer, you should do it. Good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Well, Gemini, this is a time, Gemini, when you can almost feel like you're caught between the devil and the deep blue sea, because Mars is in Cancer right ahead of your sun sign, and Pluto is in Capricorn, and it is in conjunct your sun sign. It's 150 degrees away from your sun sign. So it's not helping you. Neither one of these planets are helping you too much right now, Gemini, and they're opposing each other strongly, which will have an adverse financial effect on a lot of people. Not everyone, but a lot of people. And so you have Jupiter in your sign right now. In 2 weeks, when Pluto leaves Capricorn and it goes into Aquarius, it will begin to trine Jupiter in your sign, and Jupiter is retrograde in your sign right now. And so you may change your mind on something. If you're not changing your mind right now, which you might be doing because Jupiter's retrograde, then you could be thinking of a different way to handle your money. Or I think it might be that you don't necessarily have money problems as such, but you may want to change how you're allocating your funds, where you're putting them. And that would be a good thing to think about right now, Gemini. And the reason why is that the new moon in Scorpio is wonderfully well aspected because there's 6 planets in the water signs, which means we can really be concentrating on our feelings right now, and that can do us, if you asked yourself, how do I feel about somebody or something, almost everyone would get a very honest answer right now. If everybody asked themselves, how do I feel about somebody, they would get an honest answer, because there are 6 planets in the water signs. We all do know how we feel about others and about ourselves. And so since this new moon, the rulers of it are in harsh aspect to each other, everybody has to think about how to make their finances more secure, and they also have to recognize there could be some threats to their current financial condition. And that's why everybody has to review that, and that's what I'm suggesting that you do. And if you change your mind about how you're handling your money, or where you're putting it, or what you want to do with it in the future, that would probably be some good good constructive thinking. It doesn't mean you're going to do anything about that right now, but there could be a pretty good reason coming up in the future as soon as Pluto gets into Aquarius and starts trining your sun, which remember is going to happen in 2 weeks, and it'll stay there for years. There may be some other way that you want to put your money in different spots in your life in order to cover long-term interests. And I would think about that a little bit more if I were you, Gemini, because you could be in a rather generous mood. Jupiter is a generous planet, and so there's nothing wrong with that. You just have to be real careful what you're doing with your money right now. And not so much because it's being threatened, but because you need to broaden your mind about, okay, what is my money doing and who will it benefit? Or how can I make it benefit other people more? That would, or yourself more. So I hope you think about that. This is a good time to do that, Gemini, so good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Cancer? Well, Cancer, it is, you're going to benefit from the Grand Trine in the water signs because on Friday, one day after Halloween, the Sun, the New Moon, and Mercury in Scorpio are going to be trining your Sun. And then Saturn and Neptune in Pisces are already trining your Sun, where you have Mars at the 29th degree of fate. So Cancer, there's something in your home life, in your family life, possibly in a career, or a way that you're thinking about handling your future plans for a career, that could have you worried a little bit. And that is because Mars is a pretty active planet. And it even denotes war, because Scorpio rules war. And it denotes being impulsive and being easily angered. So you do have to sort of watch out and control your temper right now, Cancer. But on the other hand, you are under very good aspects because there's 5 other planets trining that Mars in your sign. But you, and everyone else, cannot get away from the fact that Mars is at the 29th degree of fate in your sign that rules the 4th house of home, last half of life, and endings. And so there's something in your life, and no matter what age you are, Cancer, there's something in your life that's finished. And you know, it might have been a long time coming. Maybe it should have been finished before. Maybe you were a person that was just sort of hanging on to yesterday because you didn't know where you were going in tomorrow. But that's changed now. And so not only your home life is going to be affected in some way because something is finished, but your career is going to be affected too because Pluto is in Capricorn, also at the 29th degree of fate, and these 2 planets are opposing each other. In some way, Cancer, you are being faced with the challenge of whether you want to keep doing things the same old way or whether you want to look over your past achievements, no matter what age you are. You know, we all grow and change. And this can either be a time when you want to rededicate yourself to some long-term goals. That could work. And you would also have to reallocate your time and even your home life and where you live even in order to get career and home together again in a new way, because the old way's gone. Okay, now it doesn't have to be that anything really bad has happened. It can simply be that life goes on. Life goes on, we all change, so do you, Cancer. And either you're going to be on the same treadmill that you've been on for a long time and not even think about that, which is a little bit mindless. Because if you stop to think about it, Cancer, we all grow and change. And our birthdays keep coming. And we change with time. If we're not allowing anything else to change, we're still changing with time. And so is our energy level. And after a while, you might want to be thinking of, well, what do I want to do? How can I leave my mark on the world? How can I make it a better world? You may be thinking about that. Cancer is the sign of nurturing. Cancers are family-oriented. And it's not just our own family. It can be the whole family of man. You know, Cancer rules recycling. Cancers never throw anything away. They have a use for it all, even if it's not currently, it can be someday. So they save a lot of stuff because they're thrifty. But you cannot hang on to the past, Cancer, particularly not right now. And that means that even though there have been good things in the past, you need to ask yourself if they fit into the future, the new future that you see for yourself. Because this is a time when we have to choose. You know, are we going to remain in some sort of quandary or conflict or some outworn patterns of behavior that really don't suit us anymore? Or are we going to sort of realize that somewhere along the line we might have made a few mistakes, and with a sense of humility we can go forward, not backwards, not back to things, but forward and try to do better. I mean, we can all do that. Nothing wrong with that. Well, that could even be fun, because you can start new things. You can meet new people. You can have a new home life. You can have new happiness. But it would be the kind of happiness that would be more important to you going forward than what you had in the past. Because somewhere in all of our lives, at some point, we all realize that we can't go back to the past. We have to live and go forward. And a sign that is as nurturing as a Cancer, I would think you'd always want to do that. Because Cancers, they like to share things, you know. I know in our home, my dad was not a Cancer, but he always said when he was growing up, he said, always have more bread on the table. He said, in case somebody else shows up for a meal, you can stretch the meal that way. Well, okay, that's how he was thinking. But Cancers are very nurturing in one way or another, either with their time or their assets or their advice, or sometimes just with a lovely smile. They just somehow, Cancers have the ability to let other people know they understand them. They don't even have to talk too much about it. Other people just get the message. I don't know how Cancer does that, but they do. I think it's because their feelings are pretty genuine. And so you have a future, Cancer, but you can't be in two places at once. That is what that opposition means for everybody in the world right now. That's why some things are finished, because you can't be in the past and still go forward. You have to wind things up and go forward, because the sun always rises. And we have to rise with it. So I hope you do, Cancer. All right, what does it mean to a Leo? Well, Leo, this is a time, Leo, when I think that it would do you a whole lot of good if you could possibly just withdraw a little bit and ask yourself how you feel about things. Because there are 6 planets in the water signs all trining each other. And so we can all get in better touch with our feelings. There's nothing stopping us at all. It just takes a little time to do that. You have to sort of settle down and spend a little quiet time by yourself. And you might be pondering how you can make a change from the old way of doing things to doing some things in new ways. And you might be thinking even of changing the way you operate. In other words, in your career, for instance, you may have been in a position where you had to tell other people what to do, or where you were responsible for something. And maybe you would like to have a little less pressure as you go forward in your life, Leo. And for that reason, maybe you'd like to scale down your activities a little bit and leave a little bit more time instead for just simple pleasures or simple enjoyment, or just doing nothing. It's surprising how many people, when they're just getting out of school and they're ambitious and they want to do everything and they've got their goals, and then time marches on and they achieve some of their goals, And then there gets to be a time when you want to be thinking about, well, I want to enjoy myself, or I want to relax, or I want to develop a hobby, or I want to travel. And so your goals change, is what I'm telling you. And they pretty much change according to our energy level, or according to what or who we really care about. And this is a very good time, Leo, for you to sit down and not think about leading so much. Leos like to be the leader. And so, of course, you'd like to do that. But maybe you should ask yourself, what would make you happy that you could follow? In other words, give up some of that responsibility that you may have had in your life and trade it in for more hours of personal enjoyment. And I don't mean just play your way through life. What I mean is, try to do something meaningful, but not where you're carrying the whole load yourself. And so if you are not in a partnership, Leo, you might think about being in one. It's a little better if you can share the workload, or even the things that you enjoy. And so with so many planets in water signs right now, even though the Sun, the new moon, and Mercury in Scorpio square your Sun, Uranus in Taurus is also squaring your Sun, and in 2 weeks Pluto is moving into Aquarius and it's going to oppose your Sun. This is actually getting close to the last minute, Leo, when you can quietly sit back and do a little personal thinking about how you want to project yourself going forward in life, how you want to meet people, even who you want to meet, and how you want to conduct yourself. Because I guarantee you, Leo, there are some harsh aspects to your Sun, and one of them is that Scorpio is a financial sign. There is going to be a change in your finances, and it may simply be that you have to shoulder the burden of more of your financial obligations yourself. And that can be a little hard on the budget. And so this is a good time for you to sit back and quietly ask yourself, okay, how much do I really want to pay for, or how much trouble is that, and would I feel better if I let it go? And you might surprise yourself, Leo, that you'd feel a lot better if you let some things go right now and just slow down a little bit. There's nothing wrong with that. Last spring there was a solar eclipse in Aries. You may have a secret desire to change your life enough so that you could start something new. Well, that would be fine. I would suggest that you have to spend a lot more time thinking about how to do that economically right now, because your finances are due to somewhat diminish in one way or another. It might not be through any fault of your own. It may be just a drop in your investments, or a rise in the cost of things. That can make you go broke too, Leo. So think about it. Okay, what does it mean to a Virgo? Oh, Virgo. This is a time, Virgo, when I think that you are beginning to look a little bit more clearly, or see things more clearly than you have in the past. And it's a little bit right now as if the fog is dissipating. Some fog or mist or something that was sort of obliterating your future, something that was stopping you thinking about the future. That's sort of going away now, and that's dissipating. And Virgo, I think that if you were real serious about your long-term financial obligations right now, and looked at them in a simpler way. In other words, your sign rules accounting. You really are good at adding things up, or in timing things, or understanding the small details of something. Virgos are people that would always read the fine print, so that's great. But how much of your day do you want to spend doing that, Virgo? Because Pluto is under duress. It's at the 29th degree of fate in Capricorn, still trining your Sun, but Mars is opposing it exactly. So it's not out to help you too much right now, is what I'm saying, Virgo. And that's because it has other things to be worried about right now. Pluto is a planet of power. And so people in upper management are really changing their minds about a lot of things right now. That Mars opposition of Pluto, something is really finished. And it's not just finished in simple little ways for people that you don't think matter. It's changes at the top too. And I would say they're drastic changes. And they can't be stopped. It'll happen. Something's finished. And so how much do you really want to be involved in big issues right now, Virgo? Or would you sort of like to think a little bit more about how you can enjoy your life down the road? That's what Capricorn rules. It rules old age. And Pluto is just about to leave. It's only going to be in Capricorn for 2 more weeks. And while it's still trining your sun, you should try to see if you have your finances locked in a way that will provide you with a certain standard of living for the rest of your life. Not a lavish one, just a comfortable one. And if you don't have the answer to that question, you better start figuring it out, Virgo, because a lot of things are finished and they are tied to financial matters. And since you are good at managing finances, you need to look your own over, and that would be not so much the money coming in, it would be the money that's going to go out, either now or in the future. Better look at that again, Virgo. This would not be a time to raise your standard of living. This may be a better time for you to think about economizing, and if you're not going to economize at the moment, which I think maybe you should think about doing, then at least plan to do it in the near future, if you can. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Libra? Well, Libra, this is a time, Libra, when you can be just on the verge of starting something new. And maybe it's that you're sort of waiting for the money to do that, because the Sun, the New Moon, and Mercury in Scorpio are all right ahead of your Sun sign. The Scorpio is right in front of Libra. And so you could be getting some good news about money. And you could even be getting good news about money, but there would be an issue involving taxes on that money as well, because Scorpio rules taxes too. So you'd have to sort of think about your tax position in case you do come into more money, Libra, which you could. Or you could sell something. And so you need to sort of think, okay, where are you going to put that money so that you can protect yourself against higher taxes? So you'll have to figure that out. Luckily, you can get some good advice right now, Libra, from 2 different sources, because Jupiter is in Gemini, which rules 2 of everything, and it is trining your Sun. And Pluto in 2 weeks is coming into Aquarius, and it too will be trining your Sun. So your life is about to turn around, Libra. It's actually about to enlarge. It's about to get better. I don't know if it's going to exactly cost you more. It might even cost you less. But it's just going to get better because you're going to have more planets supporting your Sun sign. By the middle of November, Pluto will be in Aquarius trining your Sun. Jupiter is still in Gemini trining your Sun. Well, that's going to be good. And so I think you're going to have I think right now you may have had a pretty good birthday already. You could probably have a pretty good Christmas too, Libra. But I think that if you think that you're the Lone Ranger and you think you're all alone and nobody's around that you can share things with, or that could help you in some way, that is really not going to be true, Libra. Your sign rules partnership. You will attract partners. And if there's somebody real special that you've been thinking of for a long time, they could show up on your horizon pretty quick, even within 2 weeks. Or you could be tapped. Libras have a lot of talent plus charm, and so you could be tapped for some sort of position that is sort of like a public relations position. And you would be perfect for that. You'd be really good for that. So keep your eyes and ears open, Libra. But just remember that something is finished in all of our lives right now, and we can't go back to it. And the people that were always pointing the finger of blame at somebody else, those people are finished. And the ones with humility that said, okay, I'm sorry, I made a mistake, those are the ones whose lives are going to expand now. And so I hope you go for it, Libra. Better days are coming quickly. Okay, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Oh, Scorpio, congratulations. The sun is in your sign along with the new moon and Mercury on Friday, and they're all being trined by Saturn and Neptune in Pisces, and by your own ruler, Mars, at the 29th degree of fate in Cancer. Well, it's lucky that Mars is trining your sun, Scorpio, because it is opposing your other ruler, Pluto, also at the 29th degree of fate in Capricorn. And whereas Mars is trining your sun, Pluto is sextiling your sun. So you're probably the only sun sign that's actually going to benefit from the fact that things are finished now. And because this is a time, since your sign rules justice, this is a time when it's sort of survival of the fittest right now. And if you are a person who's been through hard times in one way or another, generally Scorpio, which rules secrecy, is pretty quiet about how hard the times have been. Scorpios generally are not the people that are going to cry on other people's shoulders when something goes really wrong. They may want to, but they have a little tendency to bury it, bury the pain within. And so, Scorpio, you might have been through something like that already. And there is something, and that whatever painful thing you may have been through, it is truly finished right now. There's no way you can go back to it. There is nothing that you'd even want to go back to. Because, you know, after the pain comes the healing. And your sign rules healing. It's a water sign. And it rules regeneration. Okay, that's what Pluto rules. A deep psychological transformation and change and regeneration. And so whatever pain you have been enduring, either now or in the last few years, it's over. It's finished. You're not going back. You may go back to a place, or you may go back to a former job, or you may go back to something that you did for a while that you absolutely loved and decide you want to give that another try. You can do all that. As long as you're having a little conversation, honest conversation with yourself, and asking yourself how you feel about it first. Because this is a wonderful time for everybody to examine their own feelings and be honest about it. In fact, that would benefit you an awful lot, Scorpio. So this can be almost a time of reckoning for you. And reckoning means that you take a look at a whole bunch of different things, and you see them clearly, and you face them, and some you're going to want to keep, and some you're pretty glad they're over, and you realize you can go on. Survival, regeneration. It's right on your doorstep, Scorpio. Sun, Moon, and Mercury. Mercury is the planet of the mind. I know that somehow every Scorpio in the world is thinking about what they want to do next, and probably who they want to do it with. And, you know, happiness awaits everyone. But it would have to be, by everyone, I mean people who have humility. I don't mean the ones who want to be controlling, or the ones who are always pointing the finger of blame at somebody else. Those people are finished. Even if you sort of liked somebody like that, just leave them high and dry, Scorpio. They're not your type. If a person has no humility, They have no ability to say they're sorry. They have no ability to really admit their mistakes. It's always going to be somebody else's fault that something happened, never their own. Those people don't know how to love. They don't know anything about love. And so you'll have to be real honest with yourself, Scorpio, about who you care about and why you care about them. And you can be so truthful about your feelings right now that you could even open up a whole new world of happiness if you wanted to. Boy, the stars are really with you on that. It's your rulers that are mad at each other. And they're mad about the money. And the people that were trying so hard to point the finger of blame at others, or to take credit for things they never really did, or who wanted to have the prestige and the money to look good in the public eye, and always blame others if there were mistakes instead. You know, they never wanted to be accountable for anything wrong, and they wanted to take a lot of credit for everything right, whether they were involved with it or not. And that's called being selfish. And it's not your type, Scorpio. And right about now, you're probably having a real honest conversation with yourself and understanding that that's true. So some people just aren't your type. Whatever they represent, it's finished. And you are going to be the beneficiary of that. You are the one that's going to do just fine without them. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Sagittarian? Well, Sagittarius. This is a time, Sagittarius, when you can be thinking an awful lot about money behind the scenes. And the reason why is that Sun, New Moon, and Mercury are in Scorpio right behind your sun sign. So in the background of your life, Sagittarius, there's an awful lot of light, and it's on a financial affair. It's on either the way you want to make your money, or it's on the high cost of living, or it's on the way that money is being allocated to you in one way or another, or it could even be something like your taxes or loans or debts, something like that. Those are all things that Scorpio rules. But there's an awful lot of light in the background of your life right now, Sagittarius. And I would say for the most part it's very good. It's good light. It will sort of illuminate things that you may have had questions about. Maybe you have been wondering about the money in one way or another, or wondering about the costs, or wondering something having to do with pay in one way, either you being paid or something that will cost you and you'll have to spend your paycheck, who knows. But you should benefit from that. And those are the lights that are right behind your sun. That's pretty good. And there can also be so much light in the background of your life right now, Sagittarius, that other people can see you rather well as well. And you know, they would like what they see. There may even be, Sagittarius, some people are around who are thinking about you or talking about you very favorably, whether you know it or not. They're thinking good thoughts about you, Sagittarius, with all that light in Scorpio. Because remember, it's fortified. Okay, Mars in Cancer is trining all that light, and so are Saturn and Neptune in Pisces. That's a grand trine in the water signs. And so you will benefit from that, Sagittarius. You may not even have to do anything to benefit from that, except you may just want to go out and meet people a little bit more, or you may want to think about your past contacts with people and ask yourself at this time whether you want to continue those contacts or whether you want to add new people to your circle of friends. That's entirely possible. There could just be people that come along and just want to meet you. And so you could get some pretty nice invitations behind the scenes. You could talk to somebody who's a complete stranger and tell them what you're interested in, and it would turn out they would want to have introduce you to some of their friends who are all also interested in whatever you're interested in. That could happen. Your life can expand right now, Sagittarius. It would be somewhat behind the scenes, but it would be something that I think in the end would please you very much at this time in your life. It's sort of like, you know, at a different time in your life you may have not had time, or you may not have been interested in that, but you are now. And I think it's going to work out pretty well. And also, this is a time of survival of the fittest. And Scorpio rules survival. It may be a time when others can see that you have survived pretty well. Even if it's quietly, you've done that. And they would admire you for that. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Well, Capricorn, this is a time, Capricorn, when you got to wind something up. And the reason why is that little Pluto that's been in your sign for so long, except for a few months earlier this year, is getting ready to leave your sign, and it's going to do that in 2 weeks. So this new moon in Scorpio, Capricorn, sextiles your sun. It's very good for you. So that's the sun, the new moon, and Mercury in Scorpio are sextiling Pluto in your own sign, and Saturn, your own ruler, and Neptune in Pisces are also sextiling your sun sign, Cancer. So what that means, Cancer, is Capricorn, is that you have a lot of cushion around you. You have friendships, or you have your neighbors, or you have your co-workers, or you have people that you know who are sort of cushioning you, or they have good suggestions, or they're fun to be with, or they're stimulating. And you know, that, in other words, it's almost, Capricorn, oddly enough, that your life even, it could be almost in a little cocoon right now. And you're safe in the cocoon because you've got support around you, surrounding support, which is pretty nice. And so, okay, it's not anything fancy, it's not anything grand and glorious. I don't think you're going to win the lottery, but it's protecting you. And so that's the new moon in Scorpio sextiling your sun, and that's the planets in Pisces, which are trining that planets in Scorpio, and they're sextiling your sun as well. Now this is good that you are in a sort of a little protective cocoon right now. It may just be that you've entered a period of time in your life where things are going along, maybe not fast, not slow, but somewhat securely. You know, you're not getting your boat rocked, I don't think, Capricorn, right now. And that's good because Mars in Cancer is opposing Pluto in your sign. And so somewhere in your life, something is finished. And it could be related to a home and family matter, or related to some sort of ending. It could be a career ending. It could be something that's winding up in one way or another, and it has to do with a financial affair. So if you have been, for instance, if you bought a car and you'd been paying on your car loan, maybe you're all paid up now, something like that. I don't know. So you're in a little protective cocoon, but there may be some good money around somewhere, Capricorn, that is a little closer than you think. And it can represent something that is catching up to where it should have been before. Okay, it could have been long overdue, but it could finally be catching up. And that would be good for you. So if I were you, the only thing I caution you about with Mars in Cancer opposing your sun sign is be very, very careful. And not to do anything too impulsive. Don't lash out in anger at anybody. It wouldn't do you any good. So just don't do it. Capricorns are noted for being rather calm, sort of calm and cool. And I would keep that up, Capricorn. That could be doing you a lot of good. Your ruler, Saturn, has been sextiling your sun for a while, and it's going to stay sextiling in Pisces for about another year. That's going to be fine. And the sun, new moon, and Mercury are also sextiling your sun under the new moon in Scorpio. Overall, I think that the news, some news, which is related to a financial matter, is going to be good news. And so if you are a person that wants to fight over the single last detail at the bottom of a list, I wouldn't do it right now. Just count your blessings for everything else you're getting and call it a day. And good luck. Okay, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Well, Aquarius. This is a time, Aquarius, when you can be just on the verge of something new that you really want to do, and you are real ready to do it. But you're not there. You're getting close though, Aquarius, very close. And the reason why is because there has to be a financial matter that is settled first, in one way or another. Or let me put it another way, Aquarius, there has to be a little more money around before you can do what you want to do. It isn't so much that you can't do what you want to do, it's that the money's not quite all in the right place yet. And that's because the sun, the new moon, and Mercury in Scorpio are squaring your sun, and Uranus in Taurus is also squaring your sun. Well, those are the two financial signs. They both have opposing planets in them. So somebody is arguing about the money. It may not be that you're arguing about it, but it doesn't mean you exactly have it in your hands right now either, Aquarius. And the only planet that is trining your sun at the moment is Jupiter in Gemini, which is good, but it's retrograde right now. You sort of have to go back, and I would say, Aquarius, you have to tweak, or you have to amend the terms of something in order to get the money. You have to, there's some understanding or agreement, or something's got to be smoothed out so that you can get the money. Now, it's because the new moon is in Scorpio, and Scorpio is a financial sign, and it rules money coming in from other sources. And so, since Jupiter is trining your sun, you can work with the terms of something or the language of something and get it to work a little bit better for you, Aquarius. Jupiter is trining your sun. And the reason why you can do that and benefit from that is because Pluto is coming into your sign in 2 weeks. And it'll be direct. And it represents people in authority or people in upper management. And they're going to really help you out, Aquarius. Or you can be introduced to them, you can get good advice from them, or it can be that somebody sort of lowers the boom and says, hey, this controversy has got to get settled now. And when it gets settled, Aquarius, congratulations, it's going to be in your favor. It just would have been a long time coming, but it'll be in your favor. Particularly if it happens after 2 weeks. You know, when Pluto gets into your sign, I don't think much is going to stop you. Just remember, it's a very slow-moving planet. It's not like your whole life is going to improve overnight, Aquarius, but there can be more money coming fairly soon. It's just you have to tweak the terms or the language in something. It might be that you understand something really well, but it's not clear to somebody else. Maybe you have to straighten that out and get them to understand it a little better. Good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Well, Pisces, this is a time, Pisces, when you benefit greatly, as all the water signs do, by the fact that on Friday there will be a new moon and the sun and Mercury in Scorpio trining Saturn and Neptune in your own sign. That will be great. And Mars in Cancer is also going to be trining your sign. Well, Mars is one malefic planet. Saturn is another, which is in your sign. Both Saturn and Neptune, your own ruler, are retrograde right now, but Mars isn't. Mars is direct. And the other ruler of Scorpio, Pluto, is in Capricorn, sextiling your sun, and it is direct. And so, but they're both a good angle to your sun sign, is what I'm saying, Pisces. And so is the new moon. So I think, Pisces, that if there has not already been a definitive resolution to a home, family, career, or something to do with a public reputation or a retirement plan, if something like that has not been settled, I would say don't worry about that. It's more settled than you think it is. It's more settled than you think. It can be that people who are finished right now want to keep on talking because they're full of hot air and they have nothing else going for them. So they want to keep on talking. Okay, well that isn't going to do you any good, Pisces, because you want something to get wrapped up. And I'm sure that is because you have a dream of your own, that it's getting to be absolutely the last minute to make it come true. I would say it's just about the last second that you have to make it come true. Neptune is retrograde at 28 degrees in your sign today, but it's going to turn around and go direct and then come over that 29th degree of fate and be gone from your sign by March. And you have to get on something right now, Pisces, and don't slow down for the people that want to hold you up by all the talking they want to do. You know, they're trying to control you. They're trying to get you to listen to them because they're so sure they're right about something, whereas you want to go forward in your future and make an old dream come true. Saturn rules time. It's in your sign. It's going to stay in your sign another year. And in 2025, people are not going to have a straight shot at something. So Pisces, you could get to your destination, but there would be some ups and downs in that, along with everybody else in 2025. I'll explain that more when I'm doing the big show at the start of the year about all the new moons every month for 2025. That's the script I'm writing now. And if you want to go forward, don't get caught up in the needless, mindless, controlling chatter of other people that are trying to hold you back. No matter what their deep concerns are, it's a device, it's a tool to hold you back. And you got to stop listening, Pisces. It's too late. Something is really finished. And you're going to be better for that. That's going to do you a world of good. This new moon is going to do you a world of good. I think maybe because your vision will be clearer now. And certainly all of us are going to have a chance to understand our own feelings a lot better. How could you not, with 6 planets trining each other in the water signs, which rule our feelings? So good luck, Pisces. It's almost as if something has, your vision has cleared up, and what your mind could always see in front of you, I think now you can see it in front of you as well. You know, it's one thing for us to have something in our mind. It's a whole lot different when you can see it right in front of you and you know it's real. And I think that's where you're at right now, Pisces. You're getting to the real stage. So don't let the people that are trying to control you and talk to you and take up your time needlessly, forget it. It's too late. And besides, the water signs, particularly Scorpio, rule justice and survival, and they rule regeneration. And it is a time for everybody to admit their mistakes and to go on and to regenerate in a new way. Because we all have a future, and nobody can live in the past. So congratulations, Pisces. I think you're moving straight forward. Good luck. Okay, thanks so much for tuning in. If you'd like to subscribe to my channel, it's called the Karen Campbell channel, even though the show is called STARBORN on YouTube. And I'd love to have you do that and tell your friends about that. And until then, I'll see you right back here next week. Bye.